You know that feeling when someone asks how you are and you just cry? Or you feel like your brain is broken because you can't make the simplest decision, like what to have for dinner? Well, if you're sensitive, it's likely that overwhelm is no stranger. But what many people don't fully realise is that overwhelm is a nervous system state, not a thinking problem. And I'm going to talk a bit more about that in a moment. My name is Dr. Hayley Trower, and I'm a holistic integrative psychotherapist. And today I want to talk about overwhelm, what it actually is and what helps. Now, overwhelm can be a big dramatic meltdown, but it can also be a lot more nuanced. You might experience it as headaches or brain fog or sluggishness or feeling a little bit teary. The misconception here is that you might be thinking, oh, well, if I just get a bit more organised, if I can think more positively, maybe I can reduce my hours at work, then I'm going to feel less overwhelmed. And that's definitely true in that managing your environment can be really helpful and it can reduce the amount of stress on you. But it doesn't take into account the fact that overwhelm is a nervous system problem. And it's very much related to safety. So there's a really important theory here that I'd like to really briefly discuss, and I'd love to go into it in more detail in another video, and it's called Polyvagal Theory, put forward by Professor Stephen Porges. And the idea here is that safety is very much informed by the nervous system. Safety is a neurophysiological process. So it means that the body comes first and the mind comes second when it comes to detecting safety. So the theory puts forward the idea that we have three protective pathways. We are either calm, connected, and safe. We are in fight, flight, or freeze. Or we are immobilized, we're in shutdown. And the ideal is to be, of course, calm, connected and safe as much as possible, but also to have the flexibility and resilience to move through the other two pathways as and when it's needed as well. So if you're sensitive, and that is about 20% of the population, you process things more deeply than others. It means that you process light, sound, textures, the energy in a room, other people's emotions. You process those things more deeply than people who are not sensitive, which means that you may also reach your threshold of overwhelm much more quickly. Your window of tolerance is going to be smaller. And so it's even more important for you to understand the mechanisms of overwhelm and how to overcome it. So the bottom line here is that your body perceives threat even when rationally your mind feels safe. You might actually understand your overwhelm from a talking perspective. You might have talked about it in therapy or with friends or family. You might understand your patterns or your triggers. You might have been able to link it to your childhood and to your people pleasing. And so you may also then be wondering why you're still feeling overwhelmed. And it's not because the therapy has failed or because you've been doing things wrong or because you're broken. It's simply because talking activates the thinking mind, and overwhelm, as I've already mentioned, is a nervous system, body-based state. So you may have been feeling overwhelmed or stressed for years because of a stressful job or because of trauma or for some other reason. And so one conversation or a couple of months of therapy isn't going to persuade your body just yet. What can help is a holistic approach. So the talking can give you the map and the somatic work can give you the path. And so together they can create lasting change. So what actually helps? Well, I'd like to share with you 4 things that you can try to manage your overwhelm that's realistic for someone who's really busy. So the first thing you can try is grounding. So all you would need to do is mindfully place your feet on the ground and start to feel any textures, any changes in temperature, and just place your awareness on your feet. And you can also breathe more slowly and really get into that space of awareness. Even better is if you put your bare feet on the earth, as in on the grass, on the sand, because there is some research that shows that there is channeling of electrons that come through the earth into the body that helps to reduce inflammation. But mindful grounding of your feet in itself is effective and reduces cortisol and reduces anxiety. The second thing that you can try is to slow down your breathing using a type of breathwork called extended exhales. And that's because when we're overwhelmed, we're usually breathing rapidly and we're breathing into our chest, so it's very shallow breathing. And this is because your nervous system is trying to prepare you to either fight, to flee, or to freeze. And so your heart rate will have gone up. You may have more blood flow to your arms and to your legs to get you ready to move. And so what you can do with your extended exhales breathing is you can send a message to your nervous system to say, hang on, it's okay, I'm safe, I'm slowing down, and it's okay. So what you would do is breathe in for 4 through the nose and breathe out for 6 through the nose. And it can help if you close your eyes whilst you're doing this, but you don't have to. And you could do maybe 6 rounds, 8 rounds of that. And if you want, you can then extend that extended exhale even further. So breathing in for 4 and then breathing out for 7. And do a couple of rounds of that. And then breathe in for 4 and breathe out for 8. But if you feel like you're running out of oxygen, just resume normal breathing. And there's a lot of research to show that that actively reduces your cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and it reduces anxiety and it reduces overwhelm. And I use it a lot and it really helps me. You can use it in a preventative way as well as when you're in the moment and feeling overwhelmed. Number 3 is to move the energy. So discharging that fight or flight energy by shaking the body, by walking, dancing, humming, any kind of movement. You can use your intuition here. Again, there's a lot of research to show that this is really effective. And there's also research to show that if you are not able to discharge that fight or flight energy, then that's when trauma can get stuck in the body. So try dancing in the kitchen, or try going for a walk, jumping up and down on the spot, anything like that. And then finally, practice saying no and see if you can start to get better at saying no in the real world as well. And although this is a thinking mind exercise, saying no is very much related to safety, because if you can trust yourself to say no, you are more likely to feel safe in your body. The more able that you can trust yourself, the more safe you will feel. So you could start by practicing saying no and then, try it out in the real world with real people. If that feels difficult, you could start by just observing when you want to say no. How does it feel? What sensations are you feeling? Why are you finding it hard to say no? Can you get curious about that? And that in itself is going to be really helpful. You don't have to be perfect and you don't have to never be overwhelmed. That's not the goal here. The goal here is to help you to Start being able to pay attention to when your body is starting to get agitated, when your nervous system is starting to feel like it needs to protect you, and to then find ways to bring yourself back to center. And so it's not that you're broken, you don't need to be fixed, you're just learning how to manage your nervous system in a more healthy way. So if you liked this video, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, because it helps me to reach more people. I also have a free overwhelm rescue meditation. So if you click the link below, you'll be able to download it straight onto your computer or your phone. See you in another video.